Again, we're trying to ask a lot of questions, including this one. Will the Gen Z and millennials of this country be the ones to redefine our future, or will they be spectators in a rigged game? Those are just some of the questions we shall be asking ourselves a little bit later on. But here's a conversation that we want to have, and here are the people that we want to have a conversation with. Allow me to introduce our guests tonight. On my right, we have Wanjiko Thiga, who is the national youth leader of arguably the newest kid on the block, the DCP party. Karibu sana.
Thank you for
joining us. All right. Next, we have one of the people who's really passionate about you and I and social justice. We're talking about Wanjira Wanjiru. Karibu sana. And very colorful tonight, representing. Karibu sana. Thank you very much. Next to her, we have our very own James Mulamba, who defines himself as something of a revolutionary. And if you've been watching The People's Court, you've seen a few of his appearances. I'm sure you'd agree. Karibu sana. Asante sana. And last but not least, she prefers to be called Angel. She's called Angel Mbudhia, who's the chairperson of the Jubilee Youth League. We're talking about the Jubilee Party Youth League. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, on this other side is a large group of very, very interested parties. And when every one of you will be speaking, you'll get a chance to introduce yourself and tell Kenyans a little bit about yourself. Real quick, right? But I think we jump into the conversation, right? Now, I want to talk about 2022 and I want to talk about 2027, specifically the data. They say numbers don't lie. But sometimes numbers don't tell the full story. Here's some context. In 2022, we had a general election, as many of you know. But one of the interesting things that came up after that, in that election, was voter numbers. Now, we had a situation where, for the first time in 15 years, we had a depressed voter turnout. Meaning we had the lowest youth turnout, or rather the lowest youth voter turnout in more than 15 years. And in itself, those numbers were at around 8 million registered voters. A lot of those numbers actually, that number had actually dipped from the previous election, which was at around 12 million. So we were doing badly then. And the numbers then painted a picture of a youth that was, some said, disengaged from the political processes. Others said the youth were disillusioned. Whatever the reason, they just didn't show up to vote. Today, we have two young, passionate, and I dare say female leaders from two of the parties in the running in 2027. Talk to us. What has changed? Did you vote in 2022? Let's start with you.
Not only did I vote, but I ran for office.
You ran for office?
Yes, I did.
And did you vote in 2022?
Yes, of course I did.
Anyone here who didn't vote? All right. These reasons that people put out for why, the numbers were low in 2022, do they resonate with you? That, the guys didn't show up because they were disenfranchised and so on. What are your views on this?
I remember when I walked into my polling station, I was going to vote, voting for myself. I only saw old people on the line and I knew, my God, I'm screwed. Where are the young people? Where is my voters block? And you see, I had campaigned and had talked to young people and I told them the importance of running, for coming out and voting. And that doesn't mean that I ignored the other voting block, but I really counted on young people. But I think they did understand. Most young people will say, politics is not my thing. But today, they understand how the personal is political. In every way, politics has affected their lives. From mental health crisis, to unemployment, to seeing blatant corruption in this country. They've seen how it means that I have not only to wake up and vote, but myself offer leadership, the leadership that I want to see, offer it. Because young people are capable of leadership. Most of us were prefects in high school. We went into campuses and colleges and we led. But you see the transition from colleges and from high school to college to national, it declines. But today we can see a different clarion call from young people. And for me, we have to really emphasize that it's not about the hype. Let's forget about the hype. We must show up because the change is at the ballot. And I want to say this, and this is why my party leader, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, has opened a home where young people can come and run for office. They can acquire party tickets. Because what happened and what is my story is that when I was running for office...
Actually, if you don't mind putting a pin on that bit, because I want us to, we'll talk about that in a bit. Tell me, when you hear these things being said about young people and fronted as reasons why they didn't show up then and possible reasons why they will not show up in 2027, what does that make you feel?
I think people will show up in 2027. I don't know where you're getting the assumption that they will not show up. Why they did not show up in the previous elections, I think 8 million young people did not show up because voting has to make sense to our lived realities. And at that time, I think people were thinking, who is the better devil? Is it the Raila mother camp or is it the Ruto Rigathi camp? I voted for Raila and Martha because I thought this is a bit sane because of their history on human rights and fighting for democracy. And the elections went how they went. But if you look at the history of elections in our country, it always ends up in contested elections. Either they have been rigged, they have been stolen. Sometimes there's war, like in 2007, 2008, post-election violence, in 2022. But why young people were not showing up is they were beginning to feel like this is a never-ending circle. You turn up, you vote, a caliber of people go to office, they steal your resources, your life remains the same. So what is the point of going to line up and vote for people who actually don't care for your interests? They will speak to you all the flowery languages. They will tell you bottom up. They will tell you serikali ya mama mboga. They will tell you serikali ya boda boda. But once they empower, Kenya is a country of shareholders. It's all of these things that we are wondering what happened to your sense of country. So young people are beginning to break through that ceiling and saying, we're not going to participate in this if this is what it is about. But right now we are talking to ourselves and realizing, you guys, we are actually the biggest voting bloc. If we consolidate ourselves, we could take this system and actualize everything we have been dreaming about, the new Kenya that we want. Because everything that is happening right now in Kenya and East Africa is something we want to leave behind. Our generation wants to birth a new country that respects and upholds the Constitution of Kenya 2010, respects human rights, respects the rule of law. There's sanity, civility, and dignity for the people of Kenya, which the political elites have failed to do since independence. It's been since 1963. We should not be having such levels of poverty. We should not be having young people saying, hatutaki kutumia madawa za kulevya, tunataka grao. And there has been money allocated to all of that. So we are seeing an end to the leadership of greed, an end to the leadership of stealing people's resources. People now have an urgency to do that for themselves because we are realizing we don't even need them. They need us.
But let me ask you 2 questions just on that, and the rest of you can jump in on this as well. Why do you think it's taken this long to have this sort of shift?
Why do I think it has taken so long? I think because for some time people were gullible, people believed in the lies they were sold, because you know, it's your leader, they have studied us enough and known if I sell this angle, people will buy into that. But it's always been a game.
So you're saying that the hope is in short supply right now?
Hope is in short supply.
And now,
right now, nobody can sell us hope. Maybe hope for one-term presidency, but nothing beyond that. You can sell us the hope to have Ruto go for a one-term presidency, but not the hope to change our lived realities, because we've seen it.
You raise an interesting question there, and I want to hear you, James, on this. What are your views on this? Why do you think it's taken this long? Why are the youth kind of, one would argue, a lot more plugged in now than just the recent election? Why?
Let me give you a brief background and tell you why we are interested now. Well, not me, but why most of them are interested right now. One, as Wanjira had said, they didn't think this mattered. And as she has also rightly put it, we have a rigged election system in Kenya. This is the same country that had vifaranga vya computer not so many years ago. We've not forgotten that. So the youths felt beaten. They felt defeated. They knew they are participating in an election that was already decided who becomes who. And that's where the problem started. Secondly, they didn't think the elections matter in this country. Thirdly, my age mates had delegated the duty of voting to parents. They felt like, well, if the parents can as well dedicate their time to take care of us, they can as well dedicate their time to vote. We trust in their choices. And we've clearly seen that their choices are always lopsided. And we've taken it upon ourselves to rally ourselves and to rally those behind us to vote in 2027. As it is right now, the youths have a changed perspective. Their mindset has changed and they are more engaged and connected in politics today. And it is because Ruto is a necessary evil. I mean, if we had Raila as president, I can assure you we would not be having this situation. The youths would still be disengaged as they were because Raila would never have been as bad as Ruto is. People can cry all they want right now because Raila is not doing what they want, because he's sitting pretty with government. But because he's gotten tired of this, he's never been voted in, and when he's voted in, the election gets stolen from him. Probably he's gotten to the point where he thinks this is too tiring for him. Na hawezi kaa kukula baridi huko opposition, anaingia hapo kwa joto ya serikali, anatoka tena, because Raila will still vie. He will still vie in 2027.
1997?
He still vie in 2027.
All right.
Because he never gets the presidency. As I conclude, as I was saying, the other necessary evil was the finance bill. It was a blessing in disguise. Without the finance bill, most of the vocal people today would never have chosen something to speak about. They said politics is boring. When I chose politics, my age mates were partying and they were having fun. And they said, this thing is too tedious, we can't understand it, why should we even bother ourselves with it? But then came the finance bill that were overtaxing them. And we could see that this finance bill is going to tax us into perpetuity. And if we did not reject the finance bill, it would be low today. And we'd be suffering those punitive taxes for the rest of our lives. So that has changed the perspective, it has changed the landscape. And as you can see, youths are very involved right now. And they were very willing to reject the finance bill of 2025. Kama sio mchezo wamecheza hapo ya deleting, amending, we would have already rejected that thing.
All right, right. What about you, Angel?
Now, I think I would like to agree with him when he says that the Finance Bill 2024 was the best thing that happened to Kenyans, because then we got that rude awakening that governance is actually a very essential aspect of our society as we govern this country. But going back into our history just a bit, in 2007, 2008, we had the post-election violence. And then 3 years later, we had the 2010 constitution. And so when Kenyans promulgated the new constitution in 2010, there was hope, there was desire to have a better nation, and everybody was working geared towards that. So we don't see a lot of protests going into 2013 and going into 2017. The ones that we saw around that time were mainly to do with the disputes on elections, not necessarily because of cost of living, like we saw in 2023, where my SG wore a sufuria, and now that has become his brand name, but we wear that proudly, because understanding that the cost of living for Kenyans has continued to go up and up, go higher and higher. And so that becomes something that we really need to discuss as a nation. But then the other thing is that the 2020 pandemic brought us alive and closer to technology. And one of the silver linings that we had from that is to enjoy digital services more than physical engagements. And so the 2023, 2024 comes at a time when Kenyans are digitally connected. And one of the things that I'd like to appreciate from the previous regime was to ensure that the data costs in Kenya is one of the lowest in Africa.
In the world, actually.
Yes, it is lower than DRC, than South Sudan, than Morocco, than South Africa. 1 gigabyte is cheaper than in Kenya than in any other country in Africa. And so we see that we are able to access data, even whether it's through Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi in other countries is very expensive for a monthly household, but for Kenya it's fairly cheaper compared to the rest of Africa. But if the current regime goes into the direction of taxing digital platforms, then it will go higher. So these are some of the things that as advocates we should solely defend, because access to information is everything. And that's what our neighbor here, Tanzania, is trying to do. You know, as when your cost of data is higher, then people are not really interested in knowing what is going on in digital platforms. So Kenyans are even having the capacity to hack social handles for the government institutions in Tanzania. And I think that we are not ready for what is going to happen in 2027. I think AI is changing every day. Now we are seeing babies talking on social media, and that was not there a month ago. It was not popular a month ago. But in 2027, I don't think we are ready for what's going to happen. It's going to be bigger and better for the young people. I think this is our election. And what I'd like to remind young people is that, you know, this phase is an ovulation phase, and we must conceive. And if we don't conceive now, we will need another 28 days. And 28 days for a political process could be 5 years, 10 years, 50 years. So let's conceive now.
Wow, okay. And Angel, I have a question, just a quick follow-up. What would you see as a role of the digital culture? We're talking memes, we're talking influencers, we're talking TikTok, we're talking all these different tools that people are using to kind of, you know, bring down the seriousness of the conversation and kind of democratize it and get people to talk about it. What role do you think this will play in 2027?
I think it's a very...
And political parties such as yourselves, how are you going to plug into this, you know?
You know, for a long time, we've always wondered, how do we convert online sentiments into physical actions? And that's one thing that the Finance Bill 2024 brought out. When we had because protests didn't begin in 2020, in June 2024, on June 25th, protests didn't begin then. 2 months, 3 months before that, Eric Omondi had tried to go to parliament. Other activists, Akina Boniface, had tried to go to parliament as well. We had the Jubilee Party that had tried having the protests even in 2023 in the previous financial bill. So these were things that were just gearing up to 25th June. So that was just as a result of all that. So converting online sentiments to actual physical engagements is one thing that we've never been able to do as a country. That's why our politicians came out, like Alice Nganga from Thika, saying that you know, you are just privileged people who have been able to go to the streets. I mean, there's who are just complaining, but you don't exist. You know, you are just the elites. Until now, when Kenyans decided to show them, this is exactly who we are, and these are our faces. We'll go to KFC, we'll show up in Ubers, we'll come with bottled mineral water. And these are things that the country did not know existed, because if it was to go from the previous election where we saw 8 million young people did not vote, so to the government, these people don't exist. They actually physically existed in June 25th, 2024, when almost everybody was out. So these online engagements will actually translate into physical engagements and will have the potential to turn over the vote. From what the IEBC gave us was they're expecting to register about 6 million new voters, adding to the current voter register of 22 million. That makes it about 28 to 30 million, meaning that for you to win that election, you'll need about 10 million votes. I wonder where this one-term guy is going to get 10 million people to actually go to the ballot and cast their votes. But more and more, because of online engagements and kusalimiwa na nini, those things are actually translating into actually physical engagements. So we cannot ignore the conversations that are going on online. They will surely translate into physical engagements.
If I could add,
yes,
and why DCP party is very keen about online engagement. And we've seen my party leader being very keen. Even our clarion call is Skiza Ground, Skiza Kenya.
All right.
He told, especially during the Gen Z protest, he came out and spoke as why we should stop killing young people. Because at the end of the day, he could also see what's happening online, not only on ground, but online. Young people are calling out, saying we need somebody to come out to protect us. In the DP, risked his political career and said, you know what, I am seeing what people are saying online, I'm seeing what's happening offline. And what we're also doing is translating also voices of young people. And for us, the youth wing is very critical for our party. And my party leaders come out very clearly to say why it's important for him. We have 5 young people sitting on the neck.
Okay.
Something that is not even present in any political party in Kenya at the moment.
All
and
right.
that shows why not only young people do they exist in physically, but also on our online platforms. And you can see our the traction that we bring. For example, the other day, my party leader was on Obina. He got about 1 million views.
Yeah,
so that means
heading
something.
towards 1.5 million right
yes,
now.
1.5 now. So
All
for
right.
him, it does mean something, and we translate that to how are we going to engage even the online community so that we can ensure they come out to vote.
All
because
right.
we only have one defining moment in 2027.
All right. Now, how many of you guys actually want to or plan to vote and vie in 2027 by a show of hands? We've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's start with the aspirants. How many people are vying in 2027? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. You want to vie? Just quick one. What position do you want to vie for? Quick as you can. Just.
Should I start with the introduction?
Yeah. What's your name?
My name is Kelvin Mwangi.
What are you vying for?
From Tujibebwa Kenya Party. And actually, to correct her before I go on, we have young people sitting in the neck of Tujibebwa Kenya Party.
We'll get there.
A correction. They are a new party, so they need to know that. So I'll vie in Kawa West Ward, that is in Roysambu constituency in Nairobi County, for an MC position.
All right, thank you, brother.
You so much.
Next to you, what's your name and what are you going to be vying for?
My name is Felix Ocheng. I'll be vying in Nyatike constituency.
As Member of Parliament. Right. Excellent. And the gentleman behind you?
Thank you. My name is Oscar Kiplagat from Wazingishu County.
Please stand up. Please stand up, please.
Okay, thank you. My
Oscar?
name Oscar Kiplagat from Wazingishu County, Tarbo constituency. We share constituency with President. We share a ward with President, and I'm going to vie for MP.
MP. Yeah. All right. And last but not least?
My name is George Mushiri, and I want to vie for the political seat of Bahati constituency as the MP.
All right. Anyone else who's vying? All right. Now, I imagine the 2 ladies are vying. James, are you vying?
Yeah.
And Njira, are you vying?
I am.
Now, since all of us here are familiar with this, there's a question on whether the system, the political system, deliberately frustrates young contenders. Specifically, I have a report here from. I have a report here on the cost of politics in Kenya. And this was done by Mzalendo a couple of years back, and there've been a few other reports similar to this. And even looking through these numbers, I know these are nowhere near what the actual reality is right now. But here are some of the findings, if I may. They said that the 3 major things stand as sort of like impediments for young contenders, people who are vying for positions. Number 1, spending. Number 2, party matters. Running on a dominant party in a region where the party is dominant, of course, is believed to be beneficial to your chances of success. But 3, gender as well. Historically, we've had, this is a country that has preferred to vote in more men than women. And we're going to be talking about that in a second. But this report says something quite interesting. It talks about the cost of to run for political office. And I want to ask you guys, the guys who are vying, it says in this thing that on average it costs about 35 million shillings on a minimum to vie for a Senate seat. That's what it says. This is a few years back, in 2022-23. It could be more right now, it could be less. And then they said for a parliamentary seat, it costs about 18.2 million shillings at a minimum. And for women rep as well, it's about 22.8 million shillings for a women rep position, the county MP. And then they say it is also likely to cost about 3 million minimum to vie for the MCA position. Allow me to just jump over here for a second. Our prospective member for Uasin Gishu, Turbo constituency to come. Do you have this kind of money? They're saying 35 million bob, 18.2 million bob. Please stand up, Mr. Kiplagat.
You see, my brother, 2027, it will be about ideology. It will not, haiwezi kuwa about the finance.
Do you have that kind of money?
Money will come.
Money will come.
Yeah.
Where will it come from, if I may ask? How do you plan to raise this money?
You see, we have well-wishers, we have people who have our ideology. So they will find us, of course.
All right. And then give the mic to the gentleman next to you. When you hear some of these numbers being mentioned, and this report, I actually understand the people who did this actually spoke to aspirants, the ones who won and the ones who lost. So these are numbers that can be, credible. When you hear these numbers, does that give you a bit of anxiety in terms of how you're going to be able to do it?
No, it doesn't give me any anxiety, because the people are tired of being badly led, being used, being given fake promises. People are tired, and I think the greatest gift we have right now is the gift of technology and social media. Through social media, we can be able to reach a lot of people compared to way back then when we had only media stations only. But right now, you only need just to tell people how you show them the pain, you show them how they have been badly led. It's not about the money, it's about showing people they have been mistreated and showing them the way forward. So I don't believe that money is a key factor. It is a factor, but not a key factor.
So you say you're vying in Bahati, you said?
Yeah.
So you're saying the people of Bahati, you're trusting that they will trust your ideology more than what you're able to do?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Future member for Kahawa West, you said? Someone hand him a mic. They're saying 3.1 million at a minimum to vie for an MCA seat. First of all, are these numbers credible from what you've seen from your research qua ground? And how prepared are you for this sort of expenditure?
Thank you so much, Victor. I'll start with one thing. All this boils down to what political party you belong to. And sometimes I look at political parties as families. See, family is supposed to empower a person and make you and give you the opportunity to become what you want to become. If you belong to a party like ours, that is Tujibebwa Kenya Party, that party allows the young people to become what they want to become in society. We've seen the honorable party leader of Tujibebwa Kenya Party, who is now the cabinet secretary for Ministry of Information, Communications and the Digital Economy, empower people in the last general election. And how did this come about? It came about by young people getting waivers in most of these elective positions. So for me, it starts with what the party you belong to advocates for. If the party encourages you to come with amounts of money that are at least lower than other experienced people, then they'll understand. So what I would encourage any young person intending to vie, myself included, belong to a party like mine. Then from there, you will be in a very good position now to get the mentorship you need and the finances you need to, move forward.
So if I hear you correctly, you're expecting your party to provide a significant amount of the funds needed to campaign.
The fact that you belong to a party and you pay for party membership means that your party owes you support. If not, why would we belong to political parties? What is the importance of the multi-party, the multi-party democracy that was fought for by the great men, including the president of the Republic of Kenya, who is doing a very good job.
Democracy.
All right, hang on to that in a second. We have a young lady in the back. Please pass the mic to her. I saw you had a reaction to this. Please tell us what your views are.
My name is Rebecca Kwamboka Tumbo.
Yes.
I'm really worried. Are we speaking for Gen Zs right now? Like, guys, are we speaking for Gen Zs for real? Because what we are asking about party memberships, will Gen Zs be able to join parties and be accepted and be put forward to vie? That's one thing. Second thing, these statistics about you need money so that you can be able to vie. It's a statement that is meant to sieve out people. So if you are a dreamer, you'll just look at the numbers and run away. I have done campus politics. I wasn't rich. I did politics to the end of the day. It didn't cost me much. It cost me up to a certain amount that I had, okay? So if you have that drive, I believe you can do it. But still, right now, to be a member of a party requires a lot of money, and Gen Zs will not have that. And parties will not risk that on Gen Zs. So are we really talking about how they're going to shape the future, or it's something else? Yeah.
I like that question, and I want to throw it to the two representatives of the parties. Let's start with you. This subject of, I think Rebecca really raises a key question here. And, you know, your position, if I may, excuse me, is your position a sign of inclusion, or is it tokenism? And will these parties actually put their money where their mouths are in terms of backing you guys up? Like what our member for Kahawa was saying, the party will contribute or facilitate you and mentor you in terms of what you need. Let's start with you and then... Yeah.
Okay. So to answer your question, one of our party ideologies is inclusion. And this is because it was born out of the need that you see we've seen, that, and it's a major concern for young people, which has been political exclusion and repression. And for our party, we trust in young people. We trust that the young people are able to lead. And that's why we have a lot of young people also at the decision-making table space. That is the NEC and the NDC. And for us, I will say this. It is important, like what he has said, it's so important to belong to a party. And for us, our party leader has promised supporting young people.
Okay.
And what does that mean, supporting young people? What does it look like? Supporting young people is mentorship. I come from a grassroots place of leadership. I was given a national platform to lead. And that means also working with my party leader, understanding what it means to lead at a national platform and the dynamics that it comes with. I also want to demystify and talk about tokenism, the politics of tokenism that we have in our country today, and the realities of politics, because the amounts you've mentioned, gubernatorial politics takes about 100 million. Until today, tokenism is a reality kwa ground. By the way, when you go even to when you're campaigning to the Gen Z, because I campaigned, when you campaign to your fellow young people, atakuuliza at the end of the day unaniacha aje? Wewe umeuza sera umeuza anakamesa unaniacha aje? At the end of the day, we've really ingrained that, and you're going to find people who have still inculcated that in you. And that's why it's a very important question you asked. How will you fund your campaigns? When you have a political party, and a strong party as DCP, already we have a good foundation, such that when our party leader stands with you, and we have an agreement, these are the number of young people who will access party tickets. Something that happens during nomination, and what I went through, I did have the ground, but I saw my ticket on Facebook, on a Facebook page, political party Facebook page, being given to an older man who was able to buy that ticket.
Actually, let me ask you that, if you don't mind. Let's tap into your experience for a second. Sorry to interrupt. Where were you vying?
I was vying in Kiambu County.
What position?
Constituency and MCA position.
MCA position. How much did you have in your kitty to vie for this position? And how much did you end up spending?
I spent about 4 million.
How did you raise it?
I had some savings. I also met people of goodwill who supported my dream, and also people who would follow me online. They saw me, because I did door-to-door campaign. I didn't have heavy money that I will afford, you know, the luxury campaigns. So, they'll see this young girl going door-to-door, really asking for votes. And I also did a lot of media engagement, speaking power to my dream. And also the good thing is that I had...
And when you say you saw your ticket being sold online, what was that? What happened? Were you given the ticket? Did you win it and then it was...
No. What happened is, you remember, because 2022 election came with a lot of coalitions and mergers. And this means that we had a lot of consensus. But consensus came after, polls have been conducted and seeing who's leading, so that people can be able to arrive at a decision. Okay, we agree you take the seat, because the ticket, because you are the one who's leading, you're the most famous. But I was leading. But at the same time, the ticket was given to number 2 because he gave some money to it. And what happened to me? Bana nilienda hospitali niliongezwa maji. I couldn't believe my ticket is gone.
And your money.
And my money, and I've invested so much. And that meant, because I had the dream, like every young person here, I continued and went independent. And it is the hardest journey. And I will really discourage young people. If you have an opportunity to be in a political party, please belong to a political party. Because as an independent candidate, you're not fighting other independent candidates. You're fighting parties. And parties have machineries, they have the money, they have the merchandise, they have, political influence, they have, people with long-standing influence within the ground. So they're really able to support you easily. And like when you're an independent candidate, you're just selling yourself, your name. Some people don't know you, but they know a certain political party. And still, within Kenya, people still vote along party lines.
Okay.
At the end of the day. So it's easier for you when you are a young person and getting into a political party that you know that will support you.
Okay.
And that's what we are doing at DStv.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Hope it will stand the test of time.
It will.
That promise.
It will.
Wanjira, you have something to say. I saw you had
I have something to say. I feel like this conversation has turned into party leader discussion. It has turned into party campaign.
We are campaigning. We're already in campaign mode.
This conversation is about the politics of 2027, and we must center the people of Kenya in 2027. Why do you vote? Victor, why do you vote? Do you vote for your party leader to be the president? No. You vote to change your living conditions. You vote for healthcare. You vote for education. You vote for water, for housing, for dignity.
Education.
So we cannot turn politics into personality cult kind of leadership. This is what we are fighting as the young people of this country. We want to move away from that system that says, Baba amesema, tunaenda left. And then we all follow like we don't have brains, even if we are going to drain ourselves over there. We want a different kind of politics. And I want the young people of this country to trust themselves. We don't have to be under anybody's cover. The future does not belong to anybody else but the young people of this country. If we galvanized and consolidated our constituency, we are 15 million strong, right? Kila msee akitoa so, kila mwezi. How much is that? How much is that, mathematicians? 15 million times 100 is probably 1.5
billion.
And another one, and every month we changa. Unaona tunaweza jifanya campaign bila stress. Why we were saying we are partyless is because these party politics do not fit into our values and vision for this country. As a woman, I might have to sleep with a party leader for me to get a ticket. I don't want to do that kind of politics. As a woman, it will be very difficult for me to break through the patriarchal systems that the party has built. We don't want that. We want to create a very different kind of politics, and the young people have to be bold enough to dare to create it. We don't have money, yes, but we have a vision. We have the passion. We have a dream. And we should not be afraid of even saying maybe 2027 wave tunaenda nayo ni ya ma independence, na hiyo ndio ya majenzi. Jua tuna chama yenye tunaweza sema hapa ndio tuna peg na tutafanyia na campaign sisi wenyewe. Tukichanga do tuko able to buy our things za kufanya campaign, because what do we need? We just need each other, you guys. We need to agree that this is what we want. We want young people in parliament because we are tired, and we want to be able to advance our agendas. Because if you're in a party and the party leader says this is the agenda you must push, you will push that agenda. You will not be an independent member of parliament. So we will not have made any significant change despite having young people in parliament. So I see a deliberate effort to absorb young people into existing structures, which is counter-interactive.
Do you find it, it sounds like you find that process, find some mischief in that process?
I find mischief in that process.
It is a waste of our
Rebecca,
time.
you agree?
It's a waste of our time, actually.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's coming from a point of how alienating politics has been to people who don't have money. Politics has been a game for people who have money. Ulikuwa na 4M. Ni jenzi mgani hapo ako na 4M ya kugamble na historia politics? Hakuna.
Hakuna.
You know?
Kidogo, on that point, Chief.
Okay, there's something that is
Please stand up.
You know, like when we speak of Gen Z getting to offices, when we speak of Gen Z getting to offices, are they qualified? Do they have that knowledge to deliver? Yes, I have heard what everyone has said. They have said that Gen Z did not vote in 2022, and now in 2027, most of them are going to vote. But on who are they going to vote for? Yeah, that is the biggest question.
All right. I like that.
We can go many of us into the ballot, then we are casting ballot, and who are we voting for?
Victor.
Just a minute, I want to finish. Yeah, like my fellow Gen Zs here, they are saying they are going to run for the office, and the other panelists, they are saying they are going to run for the office, like the one in this one. What is it called?
DCP party.
Yeah, they are listening on the people who are only in the front. They don't listen to the people who are at the back. Sindio, do you listen? Okay.
All right, so what's your point, sir?
Is he asking me?
My point
No,
is
this one.
Qualification.
qualification. Like, do we have Ibrahim Traore here?
All right, good question. That's a really powerful question. Let's hear from you, and then someone pass the mic to Rebecca, and then the gentleman behind you.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Wandera. I'm the Chief Coordinator of Jomo Kenyatta University Radiography Student Association. Thank you very much, Victor, for this opportunity. I thank the Constitution that grants us the will, Article 38, to be able to participate in our responsibility by voting in the leaders of our choice. First and foremost, let me tell you the problem. The problem in this country is the systems. The systems. So any good leader under a bad system, automatically the leader becomes a bad leader. Let me tell you something. These parties, coalitions, these are now the systems we are speaking about. These are the systems we are trying to blot out from our opinions. Yeah. I dissected truth that people are trying to ride on. Yes, it is truth, but the problem is people are trying to use this truth that came out for selfish gains. Like, for example, you see new parties, DCP, what, people riding over our truth so that they saying that Gen Zs, we are behind you, Gen Zs, we are what. But let me tell you, the problem, these people are just politicians. They're not leaders. What we are looking for, leaders, not politicians. Thank you.
All right, good point, Mr. Wandera. Rebecca, you have a mic? Please tell us. Someone pass the mic to Rebecca, please. And pass the mic to this gentleman as well.
Yes, so what we're saying is, they're saying that it's difficult to work outside a political party. We are saying, dare us, 2027. We are going to go independent. Tutachangiana hizo pesa tumesema, we are going to go independent. Because at the end of the day, the whole purpose of Gen Zs being involved in politics was to be tribeless, partyless, and leaderless. So this political parties trying to absorb us is a form of hypocrisy. They're trying to kill the talent that we have, kill the vision and the dream that we have. How sure are we? Then, okay, we are trying to get to a particular number. If we are all absorbed into the political parties, we will not get that number of youth inside the parliament. But if we go independent, we are sure to get that number. Oh, you remember there's that lady from, I think, Nandi County who went the entire county without money. And now Gen Zs are intentionally pushing their young people out. So we dare you. We're going to be there without your parties.
All right, Rebecca. Chief, what's your name and what's your point, please?
Yes, I'm Philemon Omondi, student leader, Mary University. Mine is just to point out on the issue of parties. I tend to believe that we can stand without parties because if you are keen enough, you'll realize that the parties are used to kill the strength of the youths. For example, a party like ODM, you find like Oburu Oginga, an 84-year-old guy, is a youth leader. How? How? So I think as 2027, we will come without parties and we will win. Thank you.
All right. And this gentleman, just let's have one more, and then we'll jump over there. We'll come back. I promise you. Yes, please.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Daniel Mugoshi.
Daniel, please stand up.
Yeah, from Embu County.
Yes, please.
First things first, I'd like to say it is not possible for us to go without parties because this whole idea of us saying Gen Zs can do it, we need mentorship. And we cannot get mentorship without having to join political parties. Gen Zs alone cannot do it, that's a lie. And this story of saying Tuchange sijui so, it's not possible. We have cons like Morara Kebaso who have shown us this kuchanga thing is not possible. And because I'm a member of a DCP party, our party leader has made it crystal clear. If I win the nominations to run for an MCA seat, for example, I have the assurance of support from the party to run for that seat, because our politics is unafanya siasa jioni unamwachia kakitu, because we cannot avoid it.
Victor,
so you're saying we can't shift this. Mulamba, Victor, just quick one, Mulamba, before and after you we will take a short break. We come back. Yes, Mulamba, you're laughing.
I am just asking myself, where is Gachagua getting money to fund all these guys? His party is barely a week old. He has not been funded by you see the entire process of funding political parties. His party does not have any elected leader, so he's not being funded by the government.
I think
already
my party leader addressed the issue about funding.
The government is not funding his party. He does not have any elected leader as it is. So where is he getting the money to fund this? You are blind to that. As I was saying on something else, who said politics has to be expensive?
Kenyans.
That is the idea we need to fight.
Okay.
Because politics does not have to be expensive. You do not have to hold millions and millions of money to win any elective seat in Kenya.
All right, let that point sit, sizzle, and digest. We'll be right back. Folks, does politics have to be expensive? Do you need a political party to be able to make a difference? Are we going to see a wave of independence? They've said, dare us. We'll be right back after this.